Shedeur in the postgame, a lot of yards, couple of touchdowns. He was fabulous, I thought, in so many ways. We have one thing here, though, Tone.
My name's Owen, and
well,
this
I know,
is
but I'm telling Tone.
Social media reactions brought to you by Shedeur Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. I can't even speak.
It's okay.
They're called Shedeur Jewelers.
I called him Jeremy Simmons earlier today, and then Live actually did it.
It was Jeffrey.
Yeah.
It's Russell.
It's Jeffrey Simmons.
He and Shedeur had a nice little tit for tat.
Travis on the social media says, he played another garbage-ass team. Let's cut back the excitement a bit until we play a few good teams. We got a few good teams coming up. But I'm going to give credit where it's due. It's still the NFL. I may set my draft on fire. I'm not setting it on fire yet. I do have the list in front of me as well. I got to go get that one. I'm not setting the draft on fire yet. But I'm going to give credit where it's due. Still a professional team. I mean, you've had garbage quarterbacks play bad against garbage-ass teams before. I'm going to give him credit. He played well yesterday, yes.
We're going to do that new segment. He can pass or garbage ass.
You pick. You choose.
It's not the worst idea that's ever been bandied about on the Fan. Just want to point that out for everybody. I thought he was pretty good in this football game, to say the least. I think he's had growth. I don't know how you felt about it.
100%.
I think maybe some people legitimately don't think he's a good quarterback and think he's a waste of time. Fine. But I do think that there's a lot of people.
You cannot watch that and say this is a waste of time.
Especially on a 3-win football team.
No.
But also, I think that, again, there's a lot of people that have let the bots get to him and some of the other ones. Dylan Gabriel was a waste of time.
I'm sorry, Dylan. I know it must suck to get concussed and then lose your job, and now we're not talking about you at all, but I'm sorry. I will never understand. And this is one thing I know we've got scheduled for later in the show. This is what makes the Browns look terrible, because I don't think it looks terrible that they didn't start Shedeur week 1 when we've gotten into those discussions. But it does look really bad that you drafted Dylan ahead of him. You gave him first priority. He wasn't ready
agree with you on this.
For football.
Yeah.
Shedeur was more ready for football. And you told everybody.
Yeah.
This is the thing. When people would get mad at me or Albert Breer or any of the reporters saying that there was this chasm between the two quarterbacks, well, it's because the Browns were telling everybody that. And then, by the way they operated, they were telling everybody that. So it was the Browns that planted that seed. And so, yeah, I ran with it. I made the mistake of trusting the Browns on that. And it's obvious to everybody that Dylan Gabriel was not ready, that Shedeur was more ready, and that, oh, by the way, Shedeur has way more talent.
Because I don't believe that there's a chance at all that Dylan Gabriel would have got us back from 14 down. I don't think there's any chance at all. And I don't think that that's tough to say. I think a lot of people out there would agree. You've had now 3 starts. You have tape on you. Tennessee's not good. I get that. But they got tape. They got your tendencies down. By that time with Dylan Gabriel, he was starting to flounder. The offense was not doing very well at all. Like, you were able to come back. And again, this guy's dealing with, the things that are excuses for Dylan Gabriel. Oh, the offensive line, this, that, I don't need to make them right now for Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, KT Levinson was bad yesterday. Not good. The offensive line was not good. You had injuries. You had Zach Zinter who had to step in, which, hey, at least he was able to put on a helmet finally. He was able to play for you. You had Luke Whippler had to go in there because Ethan Posick went down, which was just awful.
That sucks.
You had a lot of changes that you had. Tevin Jenkins was starting in this game. You got to go back and watch 74. Got to see how he did, obviously, because they think highly of him. So I got to see what's there. Your offensive line is just not an offensive line that you would get excited for. I think that they're pretty well coached by Mike Bloomgren, but this is not something that you want to march into the future. I didn't make a bunch of excuses, though, for Shedeur about the offensive line. Yeah, he took a bad sack. There was a bad sack in there. He threw a bad interception in there. But I didn't think that I didn't think that he was bad at all. I didn't think his pocket presence was bad. I didn't think that there were things that he did that were problems from the past, other than, he held on to the ball a little bit too long because I think he was trying to play a little bit of hero ball there for a moment. But he got himself settled back down. They drove down the field. They scored a touchdown. They were able to drive back down the field. You had a chance to win the game. You had a chance to at least tie the game, I should say. You had a chance to do it. And then, of course, we got to the 2-point conversion, which I already rant and raved about. Like, when you have both broadcasts going, well, this is what the analytics tell you, they're both afraid to be called idiots by the people on the internet who have probably never been in a coach's room and want to be analytics driven instead of analytics informed. That's what one person brought up on the internet. I thought they were right as rain to say it.
I don't want to bog the show down in this because there was so much, and I want to get reaction from the fans. But I do want to ask you: is your problem that there seems to be a consensus in the NFL now that they've migrated to a consensus on the statistical probabilities of down now? It used to be if you're down 15, do you go for 2 that first time so you know? And everyone kind of is like, okay, yeah. But now it is if you're down 14. That was never part of the debate.
If they were,
and I asked, I put it out there to some really smart people, and they're all like, oh, the whole league is in on this now.
Yeah, but that's the difference.
They are all going to go for 2, not 14, because they say the extra point, the math changed when the extra point became tougher.
I get that, but this is my issue with it all. Is that what type of confidence do you have in the offense that you have? Like if you were Tennessee, if you were Cleveland, if you were the Jets, if you were New Orleans, how much confidence do you have in the sum of the parts? Because we just put it down. Well, that's what the NFL does. No. Your players aren't like Philly's players. And Philly did it and they failed. Your players aren't like some of the other teams' players out there. You have to weigh in the type of guys that you have. That's my problem with all of it. We see it on this and go, well, this is what they're supposed to do. No, this is maybe what they're supposed to do, but it's not what they can do because they're not good enough, because you have different guys in. You have to understand what's going on in a football game and your personnel that's out there. That's my whole problem with this entire matchup. That's my whole problem with Paul DeBodesta to Andrew Berry to now to Kevin Stefanski, is that you still don't get it. Yes, you have to have analytics inform you. You have to understand that this is a new era. And I think it's made for a more entertaining product. I do. But you also have to understand that's Gage Larvidan. That's not even Jerry Jeudy. That's not even Malachi Corley. That is Gage Larvidan out there. And Gage was the one who looked like he knew what he was doing. That's Luke Whippler out there, not Ethan Posick. There are differences here. And we don't understand it because we go, well, they're all pros. They should all be able to do it. No. And I'm sure there's situations where Luke Whippler has to come into a football game and or into a practice because they do that on an offensive line. But when you have different blocks and different ways to do things and you're throwing guys out there where Lucas played guard before this year, and now he has to play center, and he is going to be your center now for the rest of the season after a terrible injury. Like, you're going to have to get used to these things, and eventually I'll go, okay, that's Luke Whippler out there. That's not who's the backup's backup if we find somebody else who's probably on the practice squad right now. Like, that's what I'll have to say. I hope Luke Whippler's able to fill into that role. And then I could say, that's not Luke Whippler out there, that's so-and-so. God forbid Luke Whippler gets hurt. Like, you have to understand that there is, as much as we don't want to turn it into, they're not automatons, man. Like, this is real. These are real people. And they can either do it or they can't do it yet because you haven't put them in a position to do it yet. That's like when we had Brian Hoyer on. And he goes, yeah, the first time when I was backing up Cam Newton got COVID. I went right through the playbook and went, nope. These are the plays that I am not comfortable with. We cannot run them. Get them out of there. Because if you call them on Sunday, they ain't going to help you. They never get it. They don't. There's not a personal feeling there. That's the problem with this whole thing. But when you say that, when I say that, oh, Ken's a Neanderthal. He just wants to do it by guts. Nope. No.
Did you get anything out of Stefanski yesterday when he was pressed on, was that a Tommy Rees call? Was that Tommy Rees? He goes, no, me. That he took total ownership over that when he's not the play caller.
He's the head coach, and he can't throw his assistant coaches under the bus, especially when everybody else in the world wants him, according to all these reports.
Well, and Tommy, how about those reports? I mean, you heard that? You heard that over the weekend. Penn State, interviewing Penn State. He didn't get that job.
Tommy just has to be here. I told you, there might be a possibility. I told you where he might be doing the play calling thing. He might be auditioning for the job. Because if they're looking at, do you think Shedeur Sanders did well? Do you think he did well? Then Tommy Rees gets a little bit of credit for that. And if you're looking at it, if you're the Browns, you don't want to make a bunch of major changes, maybe you make a little change. Maybe it's going,
but that's why I got to know who called the plays.
I know
if you're so mad about the play calling,
head coach isn't going to tell you.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, you're sitting here saying, hey, Tommy might be in on the job, which I do not think would be a good idea, but whatever. We can debate. You're right. If Shedeur loves him and you
This
want
team
Shedeur,
loves to correct their own mistakes, and they love to overcorrect them. So you had a guy who once did the PowerPoint to get out of here.
I know.
And then how many people lined up going, well, if you would have let go of Mike Pettin, but you would have kept Kyle Shanahan, how much worse off would you have been? You would have been way better off. Well, here you go. You got a 33-year-old coordinator.
If you are giving him an honest chance at the head coaching job at the end of the year, but you don't know if he's calling these plays or not, and the coach is being evasive about that, that's tough for us to sit here and evaluate.
That's tough for us, but that's up to them to know. They already know it. It's up to us to try to suss it out.
Yes.
So you better start hitting the phones over there, Roger Brown, because that's the only thing I can tell you.
Yeah, I was told he was the play caller. I was told that Tommy's the play caller. Then yesterday, Stefanski's saying, it's me. It's me. It's me. All right, well, you're not making things easier.
Because he's the head coach of the football team. He's just trying to get through the press conference because this was another huge, embarrassing failure, with the exception of Shedeur Sanders playing well. And I'm sure a couple of other guys played well as well, but, I'm just mad at the sum of all its parts. Official show stance, we love Jeff Shedeur.
Yeah,
Owen loves him, too.
Yeah, why don't we have him on, then?
He goes on Baskin Phelps.
Or, that's
he's
true.
their guy.
We don't want to steal them.
He's not our guy. He's their guy.
Them.
Yeah.
Well, why can't we have him just ask us questions? We turn the interview around, and we have to defend.
What if we don't want to answer him, then we start sounding like Kevin?
Oh, I would love it.
Because he emboldens everybody else. It's like, well, Jeff's already asked this. Let me take it a little step further. So Kevin's not going to put it on his offensive coordinator because you can't just throw you're the head coach of the football team. You can't throw your offensive coordinator on the bus, whether Tommy ordered the code red or not. The other part of it is
I'm just thinking of Shedeur questioning us about stuff that Mitch wasn't getting done properly. And we go, I got to coach him. I didn't coach it. We had a bad week.
They say it all the time. There was... Not let people in on too much. There was a mess up by somebody who doesn't work here anymore a couple of years ago, and our boss was like, "Your names are on the show. You're responsible for it."
I remember that,
and I just had to sit there and take it, and it sucked. This is what a football. It wasn't you.
Oh.
It wasn't you, but this is a few years ago, and he's just like, "This is your responsibility. You will eat this bleep along with me because your name is on the show." And I went, well, there you go. You want the name on the door? That's what you get. I did. I felt like an NFL head coach just getting yelled at. And I went, well, okay, this is how it works. I had nothing to do with it, but because the name's there, and he may have nothing to do with it. He might have sat there and got on the headset and covered up his mouth and went, "That's Gage Larvinahan out there, Tommy. You can't do it because it's Gage. He hasn't ran it all week. It was probably Malachi Corley. Nothing wrong with Gage, but it was Malachi. Doesn't matter. You're the head coach. You're the one who's got to take it." But I do think, can we just, real quick, before we get to the phones again, he was rumored for the UCLA job. Makes sense.
Yep.
The Penn State job.
Yeah.
And what Tommy's just like, I can't leave my post with the Cleveland Browns. Is that how you take this?
Yeah, because you would.
He didn't pull his own name from the drawing of the Penn State job, did he?
I know Penn State is in for a rough year given, the recruiting stuff.
Look at their schedule. It's a nice schedule.
They got Iowa on that schedule?
Different, too.
It's a nice schedule.
All I'm saying
What are you trying to say, Owen?
Oh, you just sound like you're talking about them differently now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
I'm just saying, you would take Tommy's situation with the Browns right now, unless you are such a believer into Shedeur Sanders, where your sell job is, I can be the next head coach of the Browns because Shedeur is going to pop these next 4 games, or 5 games, including yesterday, that I would have the shot. That they'd fire Stefanski, but keep me and now elevate me to the head coach, which a lot would have to happen for that to go down.
We've done this before.
I remember 2019.
Literally happened in the past. Now, I will tell you this. I would think that Tommy Rees would be much more prepared than Freddie.
But what T-shirt would he wear into Pittsburgh?
That's a great question. Does he have kids? He's pretty young.
I don't know if he has children.
Although Freddie was...
Are they old enough to influence him?
Freddie was younger than you thought.
Yeah, he just had
a look
lost
to him.
His hair, yeah. That's why he had to wear a hat in press conferences and stuff like that. But yeah. It's just odd that Tommy Rees is brought up for these big-time jobs, and then he's still like, I'm going to stay here. And it's like, well, we've done this once before. We had a quarterback go out there and play well, and then we picked the OC to be the head coach. You could very well end up doing that again. It's all there for you. Now, I don't want to overcorrect and just say, well, it's just because it went badly, let's not consider him. No, if there was a move to be made, he would. If he's being considered for Penn State, UCLA, and all these other things, then maybe you would consider him as well. But you're never going to get an answer about who's calling it. And if you think the offense looks better, and let me tell you this, I think that he's done a good job. In the games that he's had to work with Shedeur Sanders, I think Tommy Rees, if we're going to give credit to the offensive coordinator, I think he's done a fantastic job. Yeah, the Wildcat, I know people got mad about that in Vegas. I'm mad about the reverse, possibly with Gage, because there was definitely a miscommunication there of some sort. And maybe Quinshon just had a brain fart. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting on the coaching side of things, and I probably am in so many ways. I'm an overreactor and a dramatic person. Yet, I think in the grand scheme of things, he's worked very well with Shedeur Sanders. They were very conservative to start things out the last couple of games. I wanted them to open it up yesterday. They opened it up a little bit yesterday, and I think you saw a more confident Shedeur. You took the good with the bad. There was two bad plays, but the other things, there was really, really nice. And it's like you're going to have to open him up and see what he really can do at one point, because I can't be terrified all the time, because I'm going to make my quarterback terrified. And that's what I thought I started to see a little bit in the last game here. Not yesterday, but against San Francisco. Like, do you want to throw it, or are you just afraid you're going to turn the ball over? Because, yeah, that was a bad turnover, but I can't. If you're going to be anything in this league, you can't just be afraid to throw picks all the time, or you're not going to be anything in this league. And I did not see Shedeur afraid to throw picks yesterday. I didn't see him. He might have double clutched it a time or two just because of making sure where guys are, but the anticipatory throws were better. Trust was better. Did a lot of work this last week. And maybe it's part of the reason I'm mad because they lost. Because it's almost that you took the game out of his hands. It's a game they could have won. Your defense was terrible in this football game, unexplainably bad. There was an opportunity there, but I thought he played really, really well. 216-474-0092. Terry in Charlotte, North Carolina. You're listening on the free Odyssey app. You're next up on The Fan.
Ken, how you doing, man? First off, if you will let me indulge for a little bit, I just think it's important to show, like, Ken, I think you've lost your rocker a bit here. Just rock with me for a little bit. Shedeur Sanders just threw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and rushed for 1 touchdown. That's the first time that stat line's been done by a rookie since the quarterback that's in Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, right? That's the first time a stat line you've seen from a quarterback since the 1950s. Clearly outplayed the number 1 draft pick in last year's draft. And you're talking about tap dancing between going back and forth for a quarterback that wowed you with a goal ball against Ohio State.
Going back and forth. Oh, God. I'm not doing the Fernando Mendoza thing yet. The only thing I said is I'm not going to sit there.
He's the best.
Terry, no team on earth is going to burn up their plans over one really, really, really good game. They're not going to do that. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest and realistic about it, Terry.
Oh, okay. Who was the best representative of Ohio football last year?
Who? Tell me.
Excuse me. Last week.
Who?
Last week, the best representative was Shedeur Sanders.
Okay.
Nobody played as good football as he did last week. And you're talking about
so he gets the Ohio Player of the Week award. He gets the Ohio Player. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about
the Ohio players.
No, see, that's the difference. Is you're going to be so sensitive about it. You don't hear me say all these nice things about Shedeur Sanders. You heard me say I'm not going to set my draft on fire for next year, and you immediately got in your feels about it. And you want to call in and call me sensitive over it?
You have gaps in your offensive line. You have gaps at your literal offensive threats. You need wide receivers. You need tackles. And you want to draft a quarterback.
No, I don't. I don't. No, I do not.
You've been talking about
I'm not going to get loud
before this game.
Because I have to be realistic about it. And I know what this football team is. And if you have the number 1 overall pick, he better play damn well over these next 4 games, or you know what they're going to do. Don't be mad at me for telling you the truth, Terry. You can be mad at me all you want, but I'm just telling you the truth.
He's the best. He's literally thrown a 300-yard game before Drake May.
Congratulations.
Well, Drake May plays with a lead every week.
But I'm not going to sit there. See, you're not going to make me.
And then they run the football.
I know what I've said about Shedeur Sanders.
He was your leading rusher in the game yesterday. I don't know if you realize that. He had no run
Terry, because you do not live in reality. You're not going to make me say bad things about Shedeur Sanders to
I don't
argue
live
with
in
you.
reality, but he had 400 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdowns, and you're saying,
he did a great job. No, I didn't.
Maybe
No,
I
I
should get
didn't.
another
No, I
quarterback.
didn't. Nope. You're misrepresenting me. Goodbye. Goodbye.
In a way, the interception,
That's not gonna happen.
The terrible pick that Shedeur threw ended up being the best thing for him because he got all those numbers that every caller is going to cite.
No.
Because they were playing from behind. Had they have just been leading the game, they would have just turned around and handed the ball off.
No. Go back and listen to the show and then come back to me with some common sense. Because at no point was I going meh over any of it. I was being honest about it. Okay? And no amount of Instagram videos are going to change anything.
We also the thing is, see, this is what drives people crazy with the Shedeur fans is that Ken started off the show talking a ton of good about Shedeur, but then
they only want to hear the negative.
When people call up and
they only want to hear the negative.
Stats, which by the way we were complimentary.
They only want to hear the negative.
All these amazing throws that he had yesterday, and how he had juice in the building and had people believing, and we said all these good things. But when a caller and a Shedeur obsessed fan just wants to talk about all positives like that, you see what happens.
And you people are not going to turn me on this. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to sit there and be one of these guys in the media who all of a sudden pray for his downfall because of the people getting in mentions and saying terrible things about your kids or saying terrible things about. It ain't going to happen. I'm not going to allow it.
I feel bad.
You guys are not going to make me do it
because it's his fans that ruin
Jonathan
that for him.
Peterlin, you guys are not going to make me do it.
I think Jonathan's been fair. I can't wait to hear Jonathan today.
Okay, fine.
Cannot wait to hear him today because I think Jonathan has been rooted in. He hasn't let the delusions get the best of him. Like he's been honest when he's made mistakes. His fans online are never honest about them. Nothing's a mistake.
Who?
The Shedeur fans.
No,
nothing's ever a mistake.
But listen, you guys ain't going to make
because they're overcorrecting against the haters. This happened with Lamar Jackson too.
Yeah,
like. There were people that just said Lamar Jackson's not a quarterback, and I'm like, he's the MVP. What are you talking about? But then people would come and course correct and overcorrect.
No, listen, I can't speak for other media members. I'm only going to go what Terry said about myself. If you listen to the show for any modicum of time since April, you know how I felt about the guy. You know that I'm happy that he was here. And I'm not going to let people who only want to hear negative things so they can get themselves going or so they can go and they can pump up their own YouTube videos or whatever they can do. You're not going to make me do that. I don't like being told about how I think when I don't think that way. And I'm not going to sit there and be told that I don't like Shedeur Sanders when I do like Shedeur Sanders, when I do want him to be a franchise quarterback for this football team. But I have to live in reality. That's what I have to live in. So you better hope that they win some football games and then they're out of it. Because if they aren't, you're going to think about some different things. And there's going to be more teams here with these Final Four games where he's going to have to play really well to beat them.
A game against Tennessee, a one-game scenario is not in any way going to have a team convince themselves not to take a quarterback.
And I'm a very sensitive person.
Now, if he plays well
I'm calling other people sensitive.
If he plays well against the Bears, if he plays well against the Steelers team that is trying to make the playoffs and had a gutsy win over Baltimore yesterday, if he does it at home against the Bills, then okay, it's a different story. A game against Tennessee is not when he threw that interception like that. That is not going to have them say, no, we are not in the market for a quarterback.
I'm not going to let you guys sit there and talk me into not liking the kid. It ain't going to happen. I've held out and held out and held out, and I think that the other side is completely bananas. Because I got plenty of people sitting there going, you guys are making a big deal over this quarterback. It was only Tennessee. No. He was good. You know he was good.
He was good, yes.
364 and 3 touchdowns ain't no accident. You ain't going to sit there and make me not like the guy because you're going to be so annoying about it. It ain't going to happen. 216-474-0092. Courtney in Wichita, Kansas. You're next up on the Fan. Hello.
Man, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Courtney, we're doing well.
Hey, man, the first thing, I understand, you're right. If he doesn't, now I don't even think he has to win the next 4 games. I just think he needs to play well.
Agreed.
And that makes you think about not taking Mendoza. Because the reality
that's
is
true. But my issue is, real quick, Courtney, if they get the number 1 overall pick, This team's obsessed, and look, he can throw for 400. He's got to throw for like 400 yards and like 3 touchdowns each of these games, and then they lose them. That's like the only way I could see him do it. They're the most obsessed. They're the most obsessed franchise with one position you'll ever see in your entire life. They're obsessed with quarterbacks. Go ahead, Courtney. Please go ahead.
Right. And I get it. I've been a football fan since '83, and I've seen a lot of bad guys get drafted that they thought was going to be the best. Not saying Mendoza's not good. I was impressed with Mendoza. There's no guarantee he's going to come in the league and light it up. There's no guarantee that Shedeur was going to be a 5th round and do what he's been doing. Now, what I will say about yesterday's game, I looked it up. There's been 48 times teams in the fourth quarter have been down 14 and scored a touchdown. Only 14 of those times did they go for 2. I don't even do that on Madden. So what sense does it make? And did the analytics say run a reverse? Was that part of the analytics?
See, this is what I'm saying. See, I can't agree with you more, Courtney. I want to give you a hug. This is like we can sit. You hear both broadcasts. I don't know if you were able to listen. Well, no, because you can't hear within 100 miles unless you're listening on Sirius.
Are you still there, real quick?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
You said you ran the data for when?
How many times in the fourth quarter was the team down 14 points and scored a touchdown? How many times they went for 2? 34 times they kicked the extra point.
In what time range? When was this?
But it's just the fourth quarter. I don't even think it matters what time range.
Years?
What years? Yeah.
Oh, since 2021. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, when did they change the extra point? Because that is good. That is good data. Then that actually surprises me the way that it's talked about today on the internet, and I'm talking about the analytical people and really Vegas. See, this is a big part of it too. It's kind of the gambling thing also.
2015. Okay, that's when that originally happened, right?
Man, yeah. That surprises me because everybody, the NFL every year it evolves with the cards, like the when to go for it cards, and Vegas and the probability people all say the move is to go for 2.
But going off of what Courtney said, this is why I love a caller like Courtney, because he gets it. He gets it. Yeah, the analytics say to go for 2, fine. But when you got both broadcasts going, well, that's what the analytics say. You have to look at the parts that you're working with.
We also we talked Tomlin a lot last week. What would Tomlin have done in that situation?
He probably would have kicked both extra points.
I gotta feel like he would kick the extra points.
He would have kicked the extra points. He probably would have done that. Because I'm not putting my players in an advantageous position. Now, I'm just going off of what Courtney said. I'm not putting my guys in an advantageous position. And you could say, well, the play draw, the way the plays were drawn up were perfectly fine. Yes, but again, who's running it? I can give you, again, all the ingredients to make. What's your favorite dinner, Tone?
Tuna noodle casserole.
I can give you all the ingredients to tuna noodle casserole, but if I just give you pencil shavings or I just give you old earwax, you ain't gonna be able to make tuna noodle That's no way.
Tastes better.
Good God, you're a sicko. Why can't you just take something seriously for a second? Damn it! Lima likes and 5 on the Fan.
I'll take that seriously.